So,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Yep.
you go.
No, go, yeah.
Okay.
I saw that you had done the minutes, so.
Yeah, so, Steve had called me and said that Scott, all he had was a typo. One word typo, so if anyone
Not bad.
else has any problems with the minutes or has anything to add or change.
Those are the minutes from January.
Yep.
Yeah, January 27th.
You guys want to take a couple of minutes to read it, or?
Sure.
That was the one.
It wasn't even a word, it was only a letter, wasn't it?
It was one letter,
One
yeah.
letter, yeah.
But that one letter could definitely mattered.
Hey, Brent, are you taking the notes again tonight as well, or no, for the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mostly also just do this, for our records as well.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, but good minutes.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's helpful when you're going back to look at chapters that you haven't worked on in a few months, and you're like, oh, right, that's what we agreed on.
Yeah, I was telling Paul, I've been in the community here for 26 years, and I think I've been doing planning commission for somewhere between 20 and 25, and I was secretary for like 13 or 14 of those years, and it was not a fun job.
Oh,
Because no
yeah.
one wanted to do it.
No, did you have to do all the minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they were very good.
Yeah, it's good to have a good public record.
For sure, yeah.
You know, at least in recent experience, we had one particular community, there was a bit of a controversial issue, and we didn't really think it was that controversial, but, you know, of course, you get residents who want to know what's going on, and, you know, if you can,
It's got a record.
you got a record, you
Yeah.
can say, well, this was discussed only at this meeting, and this is all that was discussed at that meeting. So,
So any
It's certainly
discussion?
helpful.
Any discussion on that motion? To approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Sure.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so we're going to be going over two chapters tonight, the regional compatibility, and the second chapter is revitalization and planning for the future. So the first one we'll go over is chapter 15, regional compatibility. So the purpose of this discussion is to ensure that policies developed for Morrisville Borough do not conflict with the adjoining municipalities. The MPC requires that comp plans take into account the surrounding region. So, as we all know, Morrisville sits adjacent to three municipal entities, two in Bucks County and one in New Jersey. So we have Falls Township to the south and to the west, Lower Make to the north, and Trenton across the bridge, across the river. So overall, the land use policy for Falls, their comp plan hasn't been updated since 2004, but overall, their land use policy and existing development is compatible with Morrisville Borough. Most notable is their riverfront district, and that was adopted, the RD Riverfront District was adopted for the purpose of encouraging the revitalization and redevelopment of industrial properties along the Delaware River. And that is compatible with Morrisville's Riverview Neighborhood District, which was established to foster the redevelopment of underutilized land along the river. So it's compatible that those two zoning districts are adjacent to one another because they seem to be serving the same purpose
And
of
that's a large
the
area
river.
too, when you combine them all together.
Yep, for sure.
So moving down to Lower Makefield, Lower Make shares a small border with Morrisville Borough's northern borough, or northern area. And they actually recently updated their comp plan in 2019, and it includes a future land use map. So that map identifies areas adjacent to Morrisville's north border as medium-density residential and residential/resource protection, and that's compatible with the Parks and Rec and protected open space land uses where Greystones is, as well as the single-family residential land uses in Morrisville. And on page 2, we discuss a little bit about Trenton. So while there are some positives of Trenton being across the bridge, such as close access to key transportation networks, there's also negatives to being a small town across the river from a state capital. Commuters travel through the borough and across bridges for work. There's a lot of entertainment options in Trenton, but that also contributes to major traffic impacts going through the borough as well as noise issues. So we have in the Trenton paragraph that the borough should coordinate with the city to ensure that waterfront uses remain in compliance with local noise ordinances and continue to look for traffic management solutions that we discussed in the transportation and circulation chapter.
How do you coordinate with another municipality in a different state? I mean, how realistic, I mean, seriously, and how realistic is that? Because you hear about stories across the board, and I know Philly now is dealing with it. They hear the music blaring from across the river in Burlington, I forget what town it is.
Camden?
And near Camden, and blasting into South Philly, and there's not jack they can do about it. I mean, so I get the verbiage here, but the flip side to that is that realistic?
I think it's just to have a discussion and
Yeah.
try and,
Yeah, I know, but I
understand.
mean, how do you coordinate
Yeah,
that?
well-
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with different states,
Yeah,
different.
just do the best you can do.
Your
Yeah.
officials
Knowing
have
that-
to get together, that's on
Yeah.
an official level, that they have to
Yeah.
reach out to wherever their counterparts
Yeah,
are.
okay. Yeah, I'm just saying,
But I agree with you,
No,
I mean,
it's
it
a
is
great point.
difficult.
It's different when
task.
you're a river in a different state
Yeah.
compared to all the other little municipalities that are right next to each other, you know.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure all that
absolutely.
music
One side of the
equates to
street and
pretty
the other
decent
side of the
dollars,
street.
and they don't want to
Yeah.
use that.
Yep,
Right.
okay.
So while this chapter also discusses surrounding municipal entities, it also discusses regional plans that are crucial to the planning and land use policies of Morrisville Borough. So first, we're going to discuss the Bucks County Comprehensive Plan from 2011, and that identifies the following principles that serve as future decision-making guides. So in the county comp plan, the principles are to protect natural, historic, and scenic resources, promote energy conservation and efficiency, protect water resources, mitigate hazards to life and property, provide adequate community facilities and services, enhance transportation mobility, and promote economic opportunity. So the county plan also includes a future land use map, and that provides a vision to implement smart growth. And smart growth is a land use planning strategy which seeks to focus development on existing developed areas, preserve open space and natural resources, and link transportation and land use planning efforts. And the map in the county plan is meant to assist the coordination and implementation of local and regional planning efforts. So on this future land use map in the county plan, it recognizes Morrisville Borough as a town center, and it describes town centers as pedestrian-oriented with public community services. Residential areas are traditional neighborhoods, and primary commercial areas are the typical main street. So the Morrisville Borough Comprehensive Plan complies with the Bucks County Comprehensive Plan by, the first part of our comp plan kind of addresses these principles that are outlined in the county comp plan. That's our phase 1 of the plan, is addressing existing conditions and trends and making plans for housing, land use, natural resources, environmental resources, historic resources, everything we've worked for up until this moment. And then the second part of this plan is that we're working on currently is providing a framework for how the borough can implement its future land use plan. So the future land use plan in the county designating Morrisville Borough as a town center, that's kind of complying with what we're trying to provide a framework for, is revitalization, is making Morrisville Borough into more of this desirable town center.
Are we discussing the map now, or wait and talk about that later?
So this is I don't actually have this map, this is from the county comp plan, this is their future land use map. It
No,
just,
there's one here for us.
That's.
yeah, we'll discuss
later
that
on.
later,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the one that we came up with. This one is the one that the county came up with in 2011, and they included a bunch of different areas and named Morrisville Borough as, in the future, we want it to be a town center, and this is what we describe as town center. But yeah, we'll get to that future land use map in the next chapter. So moving on to page 3 of regional compatibility, we're going to discuss the DVRPC Connections 2045 plan. So similar to the county plan, the DVRPC's plan designates Morrisville Borough as a town center as well, and it also considers it a developed community, which is described as a place that already has experienced most of its population and employment growth. So that's all I have for regional compatibility. Does anybody have anything to add or any discussions?
Has it been designated, because I'm the new kid on the block here,
Mm-hmm.
designated where the town center is going to be or wants to be?
Basically, it has all of Morrisville Borough named as a town center on the county land use, or on
Okay.
the county future land use.
Okay, so it's all of Morrisville.
Yeah.
It's a generalized land use map.
Yeah.
So, because when you're
Okay.
talking about the entire county, you can't really designate small areas, so everything is
Okay.
generalized. And so Morrisville is one of those categories that is described as quote-unquote town center.
Gotcha, okay. I just wasn't sure of the definition, okay.
We've had students from University of Pennsylvania and some other groups get together as a project and look at our borough. I think they might have worked with the Planning Commission in Bucks County too. This was years ago. And the students that were working on it, if I recall, maybe 10 years ago, was it? Maybe less than that. They actually carved out in this whole area of the borough, they carved out a center. And they, did you see it? I don't-
No.
They actually, they made some recommendations where you could actually move this building where it is now to another location. And then, I guess, down this way, they carved out like a true town center. And then this would be kind of reimagined as something else. I don't-
I've heard about that. I've never
Yeah,
actually seen it.
yeah,
If I would find it, I would.
I might have it, in my stacks of stuff over the last 20 years. I can share that with you guys, but nothing really, it was good discussion, but nothing really was executed against it. But it was interesting how they reimagined this town. Of course, it involves a lot of
Money?
money and investment,
Yeah, it sounds like
and
it.
changing the infrastructure and,
Oh,
new
yeah.
buildings and stuff, but it was actually very creative for these University of Pennsylvania students actually
Yeah.
come up with
But
that.
our
so-
comp plan goes to the next level of detail, and we start divvying up
Yeah, yeah.
areas and stuff. you
Yeah.
know.
But, so just to rehash, this whole borough area is considered town center.
Okay.
No. That map is not, that map I haven't talked about yet.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I think I
Yeah.
confused you with future
Right.
land use. So
Right.
I was talking about the Bucks County Comprehensive Plan in 2011, and they had a future land use map in there, the entire
entire
county.
borough was.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, and the
'cause
entire
borough's just a
borough was
tiny
town
little
center.
thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it makes sense to be a town center.
Right.
Location and
Yeah.
so forth, transit.
But yeah, our land use map kind of delves deeper into sections
Yeah.
of Morrisville. But we're going to discuss that later in the revitalization and planning for the future.
Gotcha.
So the first part of Chapter 16 discusses an overview of accomplishments of what the borough, or what's happened in Morrisville Borough since the 2008 comp plan. So our thinking for this chapter was we wanted to have an overview of accomplishments. We wanted to highlight the 4 main implementation priorities of the 2008 comp plan and say, this is the goals that we had in 2008, and then we wanted to highlight the borough's accomplishments, how they accomplished those goals. So the first part discusses the implementation priorities. In the last comp plan, our goal was to adopt form-based zoning, continue Bridge Street revitalization efforts, initiate a comprehensive property maintenance program, and restore and enhance the riverfront. So the first part of this chapter is going to discuss how the borough has accomplished those goals in the past 12 years. So the first accomplishment we have down is Morrisville Borough's Downtown, a Blueprint for the Future. So the purpose of the blueprint was to outline Morrisville's current conditions, develop a proposed organizational structure for future revitalization efforts, and kind of provide a list of potential funding sources. And I put this under the accomplishment of adopting form-based zoning, but while we never really got around, well, we never adopted form-based zoning, but we did amend the C1 Central Commercial Zoning District. So, where am I at? So while this newly adopted amendment in 2019 is not necessarily form-based, it implements the vision set forth in Morrisville Borough's Downtown, a Blueprint for the Future. The plan, where am I at?
Third paragraph?
Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to, I think I skipped over explaining that the first goal was to adopt form-based zoning. So kind of what I'm thinking about in my head doesn't make sense. So the first goal was to adopt form-based zoning, but what I'm trying to say is we never accomplished that as a goal, but we did something similar by, as you are all familiar with, we amended the C1 Commercial Zoning District. Paul, you might not be familiar with that because it's something we worked on with the Planning Commission for like the past year or so.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that, it got passed, so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we've been working with
Yeah.
them for the past
Been
year or so.
following that.
So it's
and-
basically-
It's in your packet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're,
It's 1047.
since Paul's new, it's just basically
Yeah.
facades, having a nice cohesive look.
Yeah, I've kept up with that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's
so,
the uses and density too.
yeah.
Right.
Then-
How many
right.
Bucks County municipalities have actually gone farther with form-based zoning?
I can only think of Ben Salem Township.
Because like, the only
Yeah.
one I can think of that's really going gung-ho is like Lower Marion is doing
Yeah.
it in Montgomery.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what they.
Because
what
they
did there.
hired Dlani, DPZ and stuff. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't imagine how
The-
much they
you got
spent.
the
on
big
it.
I was going to say they have a lot, their
Yeah,
resources are a little
it's
bit,
all online. See,
Yeah.
Documents and documents and documents.
yeah, but their resources are a little bit different than
Yeah.
ours.
Right.
That's
But,
the we.
yeah, Ben Salem's the only one in Bucks County who's
Okay.
done it, and we haven't seen any projects done.
So you don't know how it's working yet?
No,
Okay.
so.
I was curious, because
Yeah.
everybody talks about it, but it's difficult to do.
Yeah, it was a big theme in the last
Yeah.
comp plan.
Yeah,
So I included the Blueprint for the Future. That was never adopted by Borough Council, but I had to put it in there kind of as an introduction to amending the C1 Central Zoning District because that was the #1 recommendation to come out of the blueprint. So the goal was to adopt form-based zoning. What we accomplished is we kind of did it. We amended the C1 Central Zoning District to implement a similar goal, so,
yeah, and certainly,
Yeah, we did that.
the C1 district certainly addresses form.
yeah.
You know, not maybe
Yeah.
in a way a form-based zoning would address it, such a district, but I think the C1 certainly accomplishes or implements that
Yeah, a lot
that
more
priority.
focus on the issues of form and stuff.
Yeah,
So the second goal from the comp plan was to continue Bridge Street revitalization efforts. And this was supposed to complement the idea of form-based zoning, with the borough setting out to continue revitalization efforts along Bridge Street. The goal was to enhance the public experience of the borough's commercial core. So going down to the borough's accomplishments of continuing the revitalization along Bridge Street, the first one that we'll discuss is LRTA, which is Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance Act. And that was created in 1977 to encourage investment and redevelopment of commercial, industrial, and other business properties in areas experiencing disinvestment. And in 2019, county commissioners approved resolutions to authorize the establishment of LRTA in Morrisville Borough. So this law authorizes local taxing authorities to provide temporary tax exemptions on improvements to commercial properties in designated areas. The second accomplishment is the enterprise zone. The state-designated enterprise zone addresses deteriorated, distressed, and blighted industrial and manufacturing areas, and the enterprise zone of Bucks County was established in 1997 and is administered by the Redevelopment Authority. And in 2019, boundaries of the certified redevelopment area were expanded to expand this enterprise zone to include additional parcels along Bridge Street. And this expansion encourages public and private partnerships to improve public infrastructure to support new investment in the town center. And this expansion of the certified redevelopment area will also initiate steps to facilitate the adaptive reuse of the beloved Stockholm building. The next accomplishment is.
Beloved's not in here, I think you.
I added that,
I'm kidding.
yeah.
He's embellishing.
Yeah. Well, isn't it? Beloved?
Yeah.
What day is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And by
so-
whom?
Yeah. So the next accomplishment that the borough achieved was Renaissance Plaza. So in 2007, Renaissance Plaza was constructed. It's a mixed-use building. It's constructed along Bridge Street in downtown Morrisville, and the design captures the traditional masonry factories of Morrisville's old steel town. What was that?
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, so that's an example of continuing revitalization
Where's
efforts.
Renaissance Plaza? Which one is that?
It's
Right
the
over
one
there.
with the edible
The brick building,
arrangements.
edible-
more modern looking.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, one right
Okay.
over there.
Across from Ben's Deli.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
okay.
next to the Robert Morris Inn
Yep.
or whatever
Okay.
that
Yeah.
town is.
So it was Hal's hardware store and a couple other places, I forget what they were. And we had the properties blighted, and then we turned it over to the Bucks County Redevelopment Authority, and then they put bids out to get proposals for redevelopment, and then we came up with this, so.
Okay.
Moving on, another accomplishment for the Bridge Street revitalization is the Lehigh Rubber revitalization. So the Lehigh Rubber building, which was owned by the Redevelopment Authority, it's been redeveloped and has several tenants, including 21 Lux Brewing Company.
Waiting for that to open up. I'm thirsty.
Do you know of any other tenants that are in there, going in there?
Well, the distillery.
The brewery and the
Yeah,
distillery?
David's
Distillery and,
Distillery.
the
That's
Axe-
actually
Axe
farther
Throwing,
along
right?
than the brew pub.
Yeah.
Damn.
But also, the building now has been transferred back out of the redevelopment authority to the owner
Oh, okay, I'll have
to
to
assume
make
the
a note of
taxes
that.
and stuff.
Yeah, that has taken forever to
I know, it's still,
open.
I'm
Well, maybe
thirsty.
that
Did you
stuff
say
will
axe
speed up
throwing?
the
Yeah.
process.
Axe throwing,
yeah.
yeah.
If you have to
I'll
pay
put that
taxes,
on
then
there.
you're
yeah, right,
good.
exactly.
You want the
Very
money to come in.
yucky.
Steve, there's still going to be axe throwing there?
Still be what?
Axe throwing?
No.
Oh, I've never heard
No,
of that.
that one,
No?
that was sort of a blip on the radar.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
really?
all I know about is the brew pub and
Wait
the
a minute.
distillery.
Drinking and axe throwing in the
Yeah,
same place?
yeah.
It's a new
Come on.
trend, it's a new
It's bad
trend.
enough there's darts, you know, come on.
Hey, you
Are
got
they two
beer
separate
and then you get heavy
entities?
liquor and then axe
Yeah, the
throwing.
distillery makes
What could
vodka.
possibly
No, I know,
go
but
wrong?
it's
Wonderful.
different company or?
Yeah, yeah, it's David's Distillery is its own company.
Okay.
It's just a small space on the first floor that's farther along with permitting than the brew pub.
It's called
Just
David's Distillery?
David's Distillery.
Okay,
And They
I'll
make
have to add that
vodka
in.
and various other.
Because I've been to breweries where they actually have their own distillery as part of it.
Yeah, well, no, this is separate.
Separate.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Okay.
they've gotten most of their permits. They're gonna be farther along. It should open soon, I would
Good.
think. But-
So, continuing with the Bridge Street revitalization efforts, the Bridge Street pedestrian crossing. As the towpath briefly stops at Bridge Street, this project is designed to construct a safe pedestrian crossing, and as of fall 2019, the project is currently in engineering, and the crossing would be located where the canal and Bridge Street intersect by Lehigh Rubber. And then the last thing that we have for accomplishment are physical improvements. The paving program that went into effect in 2019, the borough has been seeking funds for traffic signal enhancements. They've received funds for ADA installations and sidewalk improvements, and I also added in that the beautification committee for Robert Morris Plaza installed lights and a cobblestone border around the plaza. I'm not sure if there's anything else that you don't see here that you'd like to add in.
We had grants from the Joint Toll Bridge Authority to do new sidewalks for this town. How long ago was that? Do you remember when that was?
I think that was prior to the last comprehensive plan.
I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
there was any possibility we could reach out to them again, get some money from them. Since I think one of one of the reasons why they were so keen on helping us with that is because they recognize that so much traffic comes through this borough going to New Jersey and uses their bridge, so.
Should we mention Patriots Park in this section at all? I know we mentioned it in some other areas.
Patriots Park.
Williamson
Well,
Park?
this
No,
is,
Patriots.
Patriots
by-
Park.
by,
Oh, now
this is
we're calling
focusing
it
on
Patriots
Bridge
Park.
Street
Oh,
revitalization
okay.
efforts, so.
Okay. 'Cause they've got the all-new sidewalk done now, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I think that was all part of that other grant that went for that, for the.
yeah, no, that was its own
Well,
grant.
yeah.
well, I think maybe what we can do is list out like another category as other accomplishments.
Right, because it's a major
Let's just,
accomplishment.
Oh,
it
it's
is,
huge.
it is, yeah, and I think we need to recognize that, like, resources aren't just being spent on these specific areas, although we had a lot of accomplishments there. Let's have another category as other accomplishments,
Other accomplishments.
and then we can include Patriots Park as one of them.
And even the Williamson Park, the little kids' playground area and all
Oh, the
that kind of
tot
stuff, too.
lot.
Yeah, the tot lot.
Okay. I'm sure I have notes of other things that can go in other accomplishments as well.
How about the dog park, too?
Yeah?
Yep, that's a good one. too.
Basically, anything that's happened since the last comp plan that
Right,
we've
and that's been
accomplished,
a
we
long
want to put in here.
Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah. Our thinking of this was we wanted to kind of add a little momentum to the borough and say, you know, this is everything that we've done, and it's been really great, but let's keep moving on that effort, and now this is what we're gonna do. So the third goal from the 2008 comp plan was to initiate a comprehensive property maintenance program. So the 2008 comp plan recommended that the borough review housing, health, and safety code provisions to ensure that issues and hazards were addressed. And the accomplishments of this is the code enforcement. So code enforcement office reports on inspections, building permits, and notices and violations. And I think, Steve, when you sent me those Excel sheets, I think it was like last fall, I think the numbers only went up to like August. Is there any way that you have
I
numbers for
have
the
the
whole year?
complete one for last year, and
Okay.
then this year, we're just, 2 months in.
Yeah.
Do you want, because I have one from 2018 and 2019.
Yeah, send them both to me, because I'd like
Okay.
to add in some facts and figures to kind of show how
Yeah,
successful
that's
it's
a good
been.
Yeah, no, because you definitely see, I mean, this last year, we ended 2019 with doing 1,800 permits.
Yeah.
Which was a considerable amount from the year before.
Right.
Or 1,800 items.
What's the fee for those permits, Steve?
It varies depending on
Yeah.
what it is. Some are
Okay.
flat fees, some are based on construction cost. The fee schedule's like 20 pages long.
But that's additional revenue that we get.
No, it's not necessarily additional revenue, because the money you use on code enforcement, health and safety just goes out, but what you get is safety, health, a beautiful community.
Right.
It's not like a profit center.
So it's self-funding, is it?
Well, not even that, it's very controversial. The point is that you have to do it, whether you like it or not. So, but it's not, you do not make a profit. You're supposed to basically try and break even, as far as the
Right, you
state
could,
goes.
like, to be self-funding.
Yeah.
That's-
It's a fee.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all I really have at the moment is kind of what the code enforcement office does, but I'd really like to add in some numbers to highlight
Yeah, well, I mean,
successes.
we've done a lot of permits, a lot of violation notices, zoning violation
Yeah.
notices, gone to court several occasions. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
we've been busy.
That's interesting. Is there a way that you could put different categories and then enumerate how many, like, what are the categories?
Well, I do that every month. I do a spreadsheet that breaks it down, like how many roof permits, how many this.
Yeah, like maybe-
How many residential inspections.
So maybe you could just, for the
rental
purposes of this, for the
Yeah.
year, blah, 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 this is a sampling of what,
Right.
Top 10%
top,
or.
yeah,
Well,
something like
Yeah,
that.
and you could also do maybe a chart. Do you have it
Yeah.
from year to
Yeah.
year? I mean, you have.
Yeah, I have, every year I have, I've
Yeah,
done it.
so-
I've been here for 2 years doing it.
I mean, there's lots of different things, like, if you're looking at the police department, this is the number of burglaries,
Well,
this is the
they have
number
theirs
of
and ours
noise
is similar
complaints,
to
this is the
theirs.
number of, maybe you just like do
We
another
also-
one for.
We also have like the sidewalk letters, the
Right.
snow removal letters, tall grass letters.
I think that would be interesting for.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
I
could be
get
included in
probably
there.
on Facebook every month.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
It was interesting, the surveys that came back,
Mhm. Oh,
and
yeah.
that was one of the schools code.
Okay,
Yeah.
the final goal that we have in here from the 2008 comp plan is to restore and enhance the riverfront. So the riverfront is one of Morrisville's most valuable assets. And the goal in 2008 for the borough was to further protect and enhance this resource as well as promote a riverfront identity. So one of the first accomplishments is the certified redevelopment areas. And there are a handful of properties along the Delaware River that have the ability to contribute to enhancing Morrisville's riverfront location. And a couple of those are the 47-acre tract that was rezoned RN Riverview neighborhood. That is the Tate and Lyle parcel. It was rezoned Riverview neighborhood with the intention of promoting mixed-use development along the Delaware. And then the second area is Williamson Park. And the town center concept at Williamson Park kind of continues the pattern of potential redevelopment proposal and mixed-use land uses along the Delaware. The second accomplishment we have is the levee recertification. An accredited levee will remove areas of Williamson Park and surrounding parcels from the 100-year floodplains. So if that gets, right now I just have it as that the borough received funds and that a flood protection study is underway, or it's in the draft phase.
Well, I think they finished the first part, it's like a second phase or something now. We
Oh,
should
is it?
confirm that with Gilmore.
Okay.
Yeah. They finished the initial phase, whatever it's called.
Yeah, last time I checked, they said that it was in the draft phase and they were waiting.
Well, now that they're waiting because apparently they're choosing some other consultants or something.
Oh, yeah, that's what they told me last time I talked to them.
FEMA is changing consultants.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's-
Midstream, okay.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think it's kind of
definitely
on hold.
confirm. And then the last accomplishment we have for this goal is the Morrisville Riverfront Preserve. So we have that the borough is currently working to restore this land to be maintained as a natural preserve and provide the public with recreational activities while enhancing and preserving wildlife. So since 2010, the site was rezoned as a natural lands district and community service district and was preserved as open space. They worked to combat invasive species, added signage to educate residents who enter the preserve. Plantings were replacing concrete, improvements to access points were made, and since 2012, over 800 native trees had been planted at the preserve. So that kind of concludes the portion of the chapter where we talk about what our goals were and what we've accomplished. And then I guess this could be a place where we add in everything else we've accomplished, like Patriots Park and the top lot.
Do we actually have an exhibit showing the Patriots Park plan, like that rendering over there or anything? You know, showing the future ultimate
If you would like that in the plan.
Yeah, we can
I know, I'm just
certainly add
asking,
that.
you
Yeah.
know.
Sure. Who has that?
Gilmore.
Is that Gilmore?
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be willing
It's
to
an
share that.
attractive plan. It shows
It
a
is
lot
an
of-
attractive plan.
a lot of
Let's put
stuff.
it in there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely this, I mean, I haven't really included any pictures or graphics, just for the sake of reviewing narrative first and figuring out what we're gonna put in there, but I plan on, especially when the weather gets nicer, coming to Morrisville for the day, taking pictures, including graphics and charts, so it's definitely going to be more exciting than it's looked.
That's something to look forward to.
Okay, so, do you wanna discuss the vision after this when we go into the
Yeah.
survey?
Yeah, so in the last comprehensive plan, we kind of talked about a vision, and then we went into kind of what the plan was for the borough. And I kind of realized usually we talk about a community vision after we get the resident survey, because we kind of want the resident survey to kind of back some of the ideas that we have for a community vision. So we haven't really had an opportunity to do that yet, and we're only talking about the community survey tonight. So I was thinking that that would be something that we could discuss it now, or we can talk about it after we go through the survey results. Because one of the things I was thinking about doing for this plan, when we when we had done the 2008 plan, I think we took that over from another consultant. Another consultant had decided they weren't going to work on that plan anymore, and we kind of picked up the ball. They had already established a number of goals and objectives in that plan, and so the thought was, well, this was already established. Why are we reinventing the wheel here? We're just going to go with this. And then we use those in the future land use plan for that 2008 plan. So what we do nowadays is we don't talk about goals and objectives. We really just talk about plan principles. Goals and objectives, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between what a goal is, what an objective is. It kind of gets muddled in terms of what message you're trying to get across. In terms of principles, you're really trying to just say, this is kind of who we are, and this is how we kind of think things should go. This is what it's important to us. So it sort of reflects, it really reflects a community's values. That's certainly a direction that we can move in. We can use existing goals and objectives if you're really married to those. We can use the existing vision, or we can move on in a different direction if that would be a way that the plan
There's a lot of
thinks we should go.
substantive data here.
Yeah.
I think we should go through that first.
Absolutely.
And I think once you go through it, you're going to
Yeah,
have
that'll-
some actionable
Yeah.
things you
Okay.
can attack.
Yeah,
So
we
let's
can actually
skip
measure.
over that for now. Let's talk
We'll come
about
back to
the
the
future
vision.
land use plan.
Yep.
And then we'll talk about the survey, and then we'll get to
Sounds good.
that community vision.
Okay, so we're going to talk about our future land use map and capturing the future. So the capturing the future part just kind of talks about how the main purpose of a comp plan is to set out a vision of the future of a community and to provide a plan for realizing this vision. So with limited vacant land available, Morrisville Borough must kind of carefully tailor land use policy and regulation that is meant to assist the borough in implementing and recommendations of this plan. So the future land use map for this plan that we can kind of go into with the map, we wanted to, instead of doing a future land use map like the last comp plan where every single parcel had its own future land use category, we kind of wanted to look at it in sections of the borough. And these sections are based off of existing development, current zoning districts, land use patterns, and existing resources. So this future land use map, it outlines 4 major planning areas within the borough. So we have kind of the northern residential area, the kind of pink area, the riverfront area, that's kind of periwinkle, the downtown, and then south of the downtown and kind of where the industrial parcels live. So if you flip to page 6 of this chapter.
Can I make a comment on the graphics?
Please.
Okay, I think you really need to distinguish the water in the Delaware River from the periwinkle or whatever.
Okay.
Because right now, it looks like the people over on Park Avenue are underwater, basically. Just
They could be.
Yeah, they usually be, right? That's before the island.
Yeah, we should probably,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're right. You're right, it does give that impression.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, it's,
And Williamson Park.
no,
Yeah.
it
Good
sounds,
point.
Every home comes with a boat.
people look at stuff, and that's an impression that you give,
Well,
even when you
the other one
explain
I
it.
have
Yeah.
is more of a marketing thing.
Yeah.
And that's the fact you've got your south industrial area. You know how much residential is in that area?
A lot.
Those
Right.
people are not gonna
Well,
like seeing that they live in
I-
the south
maybe
industrial.
we should call
area.
it,
South residential
Mixed,
or mid?
Well,
it's mixed,
it is mixed, because it
Yeah.
has residential and industrial.
Yeah.
And it also has the big Tate and Lyle parcel, which is gonna be mixed use ultimately.
Right.
But I mean, if you tell all these folks that they live in the industrial whatever, they're not gonna be happy.
Yeah.
just call it south
It's-
residential.
Yeah.
Over here.
It's called south
Because there's
residential.
not that much industrial left.
From,
It's like in this area here.
right here.
Yeah.
This right
I
here?
think Tate and Lyle, we're talking about Tate
Yeah,
and Lyle.
that's the
It's down here.
47 acres down
Yeah.
there.
Or this
This,
right here.
okay, that's what I thought.
It's the
Okay.
largest green parcel.
Okay.
Those are my comments.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, this whole
Marketing and graphics.
borough is
Yeah.
mixed, if you think about it. 'Cause, I mean,
It-
We were just kind
It
of
really
trying to
is.
look at it as what would be, for what we're recommending, like what areas will be best to recommend that. So kind of looking at future land use, it's like the majority of the pink up here, while it's mixed, the majority of it is multifamily residential, single-family residential. And then we wanted to highlight the riverfront parcels, since we talk about a lot of riverfront revitalization. And then we wanted to just distinguish kind of both sides of the borough from the downtown core. But the planning areas could definitely be open for discussion of where the boundaries lie. This was kind of our first stab at it.
Maybe instead of calling it a planning area, you call it like a focus area. Or it's an area of focus. That way you're not designating the entire area industrial, you're just kind of focusing for that use,
Right,
that planned use.
yeah.
I don't know, it's my idea.
So if you want, we can kind of go into each area in more detail. I've set up a table
let's do
for
that.
each area that kind of has a description for the area, zoning districts for that area, the challenges, opportunities and strengths in that area, and then recommended actions going forward. So the first one that we'll talk about, let's see, page 6 is the riverfront. So this planning area, it contains several natural, historic, and recreational resources. It has the Delaware River, the Riverfront Preserve, Greystones, the Pennsylvania Historical Marker, once you come across the bridge, the Canal State Park, Williamson Park, the Levee, Morrisville Dog Park, Delaware River Joint Toll Bridge Commission. It also connects all the bridges to the rest of the borough, and it's directly linked to Trenton, New Jersey. It borders Lower Make to the north and Falls Township on the south. And then we kind of summarize it by saying that the Morrisville Borough Open Space Plan notes that the borough is unique in terms of the large amount of riverfront land that is in public ownership, which results in greater public access opportunities relative to other waterfront communities. So the borough should follow these recommended actions to kind of capitalize on its prime location. So some of the challenges that we have are, and feel free to add any, this is kind of like an open discussion. Traffic congestion across bridges, connection to major metropolitan area, and flood hazards for challenges. Opportunities and strengths, close proximity to public transportation for commuters, opportunities for riverfront and cultural heritage tourism, Williamson Park, Patriots Park, the levee recertification, the levee trail, and then the recommended actions on the bottom, working with the Joint Toll Bridge Commission to implement solutions to congestion problems that are identified in the Southerly Crossings Corridor Study that we also talked about in the transportation chapter. Develop the proposed sidewalk and trail connections in the Morrisville Borough Active Transportation Plan. Exploring opportunities for more of an increase in water-based recreation and access to the river. We have a recommended action to add Greystones to the National Register of Historic Places. Continue to restore the Morrisville Riverfront Preserve. And that we recommend that a formal Parks and Rec plan be put into place to guide future Parks and Rec development and redevelopment, and we just added some community survey results in there. Since 62% of respondents said that they often frequent Williamson Park, and half of the respondents said they frequent the Delaware Canal State Park, and then a quarter frequent the Levee Trail, the Dog Park, and the Riverfront Preserve.
Quick comment, Patriots Park is in the commercial district,
Yeah.
the downtown. It should be removed from the riverfront.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, Patriots Park is where?
In the downtown.
In the
It's
downtown
yellow,
area.
the gold, downtown.
Right. It's this right
This
there.
area.
Right
Yeah, I know, but is it, I thought it was in the residential
It's right
area.
here.
No, we're talking about the blue area on here now.
Right.
Yeah.
The riverfront.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Definitely not in the riverfront.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
looking
our
at the
goal was
map.
that we wanted to
Oh, yeah, okay,
create
it's right
viable
there.
recommendations that the borough could actually implement. So this is kind of our stab at creating a future land use of doing it this way, of splitting it into planning areas and kind of looking at each area intently and figuring out what would be best for each area.
Is there anything in the Tate and Lyle space now, or is it just empty?
No,
What's
they
there?
use it for, they have filled trucks up.
It's a transfer station.
Yeah,
Okay.
transfer station.
So the trains come in and they transfer the raw material, I guess it's syrup.
Yeah, the corn syrup or whatever.
Okay.
fructose,
From one
whatever it is.
to another, and then the trains continue through.
Okay. I wasn't sure what it was used for, that's why I
I think
asked.
they go as
Okay.
far as Chicago, is that where they?
Wow, their headquarters used to be in central Illinois.
Yeah.
The original state.
Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
what it is,
Chicago.
yeah.
Decatur, Illinois, right in the
That's-
center of the state.
Decatur, yeah.
Should we perhaps highlight, like the Tate and Lyle just sort of came up to my mind, should we perhaps highlight particularly problematic or issues that need to be followed up on, such as, I don't know if the Tate and Lyle, I don't know if we can really do anything about the Tate and Lyle.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we have the Tate and Lyle, we
I mean,
have the Cloverleaf site.
I guess we
have
could,
several parcels.
that could be another opportunity,
Mhm.
like the Tate and Lyle
Definitely.
site could be like another opportunity, for example.
For the riverfront area?
Yeah, because, I mean, you have it as, it's already rezoned.
Yeah, mixed use along the river, how
Yeah.
can you lose with that?
Right.
And then we have the great, the Cloverleaf
Yeah,
property.
Cloverleaf.
Cloverleaf site, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this, in a way, what this does with these planning areas, unless we want to change it to focus areas, if you recall in the last comprehensive plan, we listed out certain opportunities that the borough had. We had like this list of like 2 pages of opportunities. But I think this kind of brings it a little bit closer to, geographically. Like it helps you understand
I
where it
like
is
this approach.
geographically.
Yeah.
You do like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good. And we're going to continue to develop these charts.
because it's funny when you
Right.
see how many zoning districts are in each of these areas, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything anybody wants to add to anything in this chart or discuss further before we move on to the next area?
I mean, I've brought this up at several meetings. I think there's opportunities for recreational amenities for the community in this area. Like, for instance, when I first started talking about this, about 10 years ago, I was thinking of like an indoor, like a dome. You've seen these buildings, they're inflatable.
Indoor sports
Indoor sports
facilities.
facilities.
Yep.
And like for like an adult volleyball league or lacrosse
Oh,
league
those
or
things are
something.
busy 24/7.
Busy 24/7, yeah, and
Yeah.
especially being so close to Trenton. I remember bringing it up at a meeting, several meetings. This is back when the community would come and certain people would have cameras and they'd videotape you. I don't know what they did with it later. Now we're getting
like
videotaped. Yeah, but no, and this is good because now the whole public can see
Now
it
everybody-
versus,
It's not a personal phone.
yeah, but, I don't know what happened to those videos, but at least now it's, it's being captured, but
Well,
for
I think in the
everyone.
mixed-use zoning for the RN, there's probably things like that. for
Well, I don't know, I don't recall, that's why I'm bringing it up.
That's like 30 pages of our zoning ordinance is
I mean,
RN.
in Saucon, Upper Saucon Valley, or,
Mm-hmm.
kind of go through there when you get,
Oh.
Spring
Mhm.
Valley, or,
Close to Nockamixon area.
not, yeah, I
Yep.
guess.
Yep.
They're talking about building a treetops course. And the neighbors
Oh.
were saying, it's going to bring crime, it's going to bring different people. I mean, it's a treetops course. But at
sorry.
least it's an idea that.
What is the treetops course?
Zip lines.
It's
Oh.
zip lines and
Oh.
Yeah.
if there's trees there, you can actually
Yeah.
build
Yeah.
ropes in between them, or you put
Yeah.
poles, like telephone poles.
Yeah.
And they're tight ropes, but you have a harness on and you always
Yeah.
have two carabiners.
I've done it.
Yeah, yeah.
I've done it. I just didn't know that's what
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, treetops course.
Yeah.
But I
It used to
think,
just be a zip line, now you zip, zip,
Yeah,
zip,
yeah.
zip all over the.
Yeah, right.
but I think, we've got the demographics, because, there's a lot of millennials that are looking for that type of stuff, and they're looking to get more quality of life and, you know, more
Want to build up the downtown
more
and bring that
adventures,
stuff
more
in.
experiences, and I think that might be good for this town.
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it fits right in here, maybe that's like another recommendation.
I think that would be a recommendation.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing, you know, to that point.
however you want to weave that in there.
Yeah.
But when the lake is improved, get it somewhere down.
Well, yeah, I mean, that could just be a bonus.
And the other thing is too, along the river, and that was mentioned earlier, you know, boat launches, you know, for kayaks, canoeing, things like that.
Absolutely.
You know, I said this to somebody a couple of years ago, I said, when we were working the preserve, I said, wouldn't it be neat to have a boat launch here?
Sure.
With a taxi service during the Trenton Thunder games,
Right.
just to go back.
We
and
had talked
forth.
about that, and I
That would
think
be
we.
so cool.
It was, that area would have to have been dredged, I think, and the cost to get it dredged. Were you part of that, Steve? I don't know. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
What about a kayak launch? I mean.
I think it'd be great.
Can you kayak with the river? I mean,
Sure.
it's-
Oh,
But
absolutely.
you can also,
Right now,
so,
the only one is the one up there just in Lower Make. When
Right.
you go past the Calhoun Bridge, you
Yeah.
can put a boat in up there.
I mean,
Why
obviously,
not some, like,
the,
small craft launch, you know?
the canal is, the 60 miles is a state park, right? So you can kayak and canoe in there.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to,
Through Portage.
you have to portage to get it out, you know? But,
Small or be ready to walk.
But if there's an opportunity, even if there's access to the canal, well, actually, it's kind of sketchy down here, but maybe up here somewhere. I mean, there's lots of opportunities.
Yeah, I think that would, I mean, again, for people fishing and just.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You
What
know,
about, what about some more fishing opportunities?
Yeah,
We have
right.
a bait and tackle shop right in the borough.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But that
So-
tackle shop's being sold.
It's being
Is
it?
sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
I
don't-
so they just had
I
a grand
don't know what it's
opening
gonna
not
be,
like a
but
couple
it's
months
for
ago.
sale, Yeah.
Didn't they?
She was like, I gotta get out
They
of
might have
here.
had a
You wanna
grand
buy it?
closing. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
They're going out of business.
I thought, well, the weather, let me see. The Dairy Coon was still open, so it was like 6 months ago at least, when it was warmer. But,
Well, it's been for sale for a while, but they haven't really found a user, you know, some of the,
I mean, the sign that announces what building it is, there's a big tree in front, so you can't even read what it is, so I think.
the other
you
issue
should
with
move the
talking to
sign.
the bait shops is that the way you do that now is to have vending machines outside.
Yeah.
So you can get your worms
Worms, yeah.
anytime, day or night, weekends. That location, there's no place for vending
There
machines. It would be on the sidewalk and
Yeah.
so forth,
Yeah.
which is a hindrance for that type of
Right.
use.
Go down to the preserve and dig some up.
There you go.
They're there.
So recreational activities or opportunities, I
Yeah.
thought might be a good idea.
No,
Great
that's good.
idea.
Maybe you have investors come in and present what they have, what they can offer.
Is there anything close like that around here? Any of those indoor places?
well-
I don't know. I'm so out of that loop.
When I first moved here 26 years ago, this was back in 94. I was 95, 96. I was going down the Conshohocken. That was closest
Okay.
that I knew of.
Yeah.
And that was the league that it was a Philadelphia league, but that was the closest I knew of, and it was a 45-minute drive for me. But it was worth it at the time. I mean, I was 25 years younger, so I was still in my 20s, maybe 30s.
There are a lot of the
But-
big old industrial buildings are being made into these.
Adaptive
sports
reuse,
for-
yeah.
For
Yeah.
indoor lacrosse,
Yeah.
indoor football with limitations.
And the other one is, the other big one now is trampolines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't get because.
Now, of course,
people
there's
get-
liability.
Oh, my God, yeah.
But,
And also the rock climbing stuff
Yep.
is in there, and yeah.
so I think, I mean, obviously in the Poconos, which I'm familiar with, I have a place up there, they're all over the place. But down here, I think it would be good.
It's not a bad thought.
Yeah, I mean, the market's there, right? It's kind of like if you build it, they will come, kind of thing, so.
Well, there was a resident that reached out to me when I was on council and suggested a pump track. And that is a combination use between skateboards and mountain bikes. It's a paved track, very steep.
Yeah.
you know, Banks and turns
Sure.
and hills.
Outdoor or indoor?
Outdoor.
Ambler Borough has an outdoor skate park that's designed by some experts up, the kids love it.
Yeah.
Oh, they eat
And
it
that's
up.
a big component out here is youth activities
Mhm.
in this town. It's,
You need to have more of them.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bring in,
No.
The bad element.
The skateboard shop that was
Well,
kind
when I
of
brought it
behind
up,
it
they
and
thought
shepherding
crime
the
was
plan
gonna come
along,
from track.
but became like a core business
You
because
know
they were
what, get
so
over
busy
it.
all the time.
get over it. Maybe they'll move here.
Would that be such a bad thing? I don't know.
No,
I
I'm
know,
being
that's what I mean.
serious.
That's
It
what I
means
mean.
like, you know,
Hey, look, there's a speed shop right down the corner there, you know, that's to a youthful market. Why aren't we marketing to the
Yeah, well,
under 30?
we should be,
Yeah.
we should be.
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
Right.
That's where it is,
Um,
the future.
My 2 cents.
They're not like picky like the Gen Xers and the,
Well, I mean, I
baby
think
boomers.
it could be a draw that we have that the other neighboring communities just don't have, or don't have room for.
Yeah, because
Right.
right now, I mean, if your choice is to go over to Conshohocken or King of Prussia.
Right.
There's got to be
To
some
do that,
closer.
yeah,
There's got to be some closer.
Whereas if you live in Newtown or Yardley,
Yeah.
you can come down
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Well, Newtown's got, don't they have that big?
They have the knack, but
Yeah.
the Newtown Flag Center,
Yeah.
but it's, I don't know how many $100 a month
Well, no, I'm not saying,
to be a
yeah,
member.
yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
that's a different culture over there.
too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
All right, noted. Would you like to move on to the next area?
Sure,
Okay.
in unison.
Didn't mean to sidetrack everybody on
Well,
that.
No, it's-
no, it's good discussion. We'll begin to discuss the residential, or south residential, not industrial area. Okay, so this is the green area. So.
Which page you on? This,
Page 7.
Page
Page
7.
seven.
it's on page 7,
Okay,
okay.
page 7.
Yep, so the challenges for this area that we have are Morrisville Lake, the separation from the Borough core by the Route 1 corridor, floodplain areas, underutilized and vacant industrial areas, and incompatible adjacent land uses. The opportunities and strengths we have are industrial redevelopment areas, a possible SEPTA train station, Riverview neighborhood district, and vacant lots.
Can I just ask a question about the Morrisville Lake? Is that
Really a lake?
filled in? Is it,
No,
it's actually,
Yeah.
there's water in there?
yeah. Councilman Bauer put his drone up over there, sent us videos. It's
There was,
really-
what is the area I'm thinking of that it was a landfill back there?
There could be part of it, but
I
there's
think
still
we
a
had
big
it last.
lake.
Okay. Well, I know there's a big lake back there, but I didn't know if we're talking about
But
the
it's
same
very
one.
hard to access. You
Right.
can hardly even see it.
Yeah,
One of
okay.
our recommendations at the bottom is for it to be any type of recreational facility or resource for the borough, an environmental assessment will need to be conducted. So one of our recommended actions is to conduct an environmental assessment and to determine its potential of becoming a resource.
So where is the lake exactly? I'm sorry, because I'm,
It is down here.
It's like at the bottom left.
bottom, okay, so it's
Yeah.
off of,
You know where the temple, religious temple is on West Post Road?
no, I have no clue, I'm not a religious
Well,
guy.
anyhow, you know where Ohio Avenue is?
Okay.
It has all
Yep.
the storage areas and
Yep.
that stuff. It's behind all that.
Behind there,
You have
okay.
to go through those
It's hard to
properties
see.
to even see
Or
it.
maybe what I was just
There's
talking
like
about
one
is more
spot you can see
suited
it.
for the green area? I don't know.
Is what?
Maybe it's more suited for the green instead of the
It's in green.
blue? What I was just talking about previous.
Oh.
Recreational facilities? Yeah. I think also, instead of filling in the whole map with like color, I might just do like a border of each area. That way,
Yeah,
the Delaware River doesn't blend in with
Just not
these
bad.
parcels.
that sounds pretty good.
And then maybe like pinpoint these areas that we're talking about. on
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
map.
because the lake could be shown here as a lake and be
Yeah.
blue or something, or
Right.
have
Like
an asterisk.
People
call
know what a
out
lake
lines or
is.
something,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good idea. I like that.
Okay.
I gotta get out in this town and see more of it.
It won't take you long.
No, well, I'll just hop on my bicycle and just go around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to do it.
Okay, so, some other recommendations that we have for this area, work with SEPTA and Bucks County to conduct a feasibility study for a new train station, in the Opportunity area, which is identified between the canal and the SEPTA Trenton Rail Line and South Pennsylvania Avenue, which we discussed in the transportation chapter.
Is that still viable? Because okay, we've been down that road before.
Matter of money.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Where does that rail, what rail line does that serve? Where does that serve? That goes from Trenton to where? to where to where? Does that go through Levitt? Is that the one that stops in Levittown?
No, it's a Cornwall Heights line.
Cornwall Heights?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So it's along Route 13?
Well, the Tullytown station. Is that
Tullytown?
on that line?
Okay.
so it goes, well, which one are you talking,
The Trenton, the SEPTA line, the
That go-
SEPTA train.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I think the furthest it goes is, well, it stops in Trenton, then it
Okay,
comes
yeah.
back, and I think the first stop is Levittown. Is it
Yeah.
Levittown? I think it is. Is that right?
No, Trenton's it.
No, the first, after.
If you're going
Trenton.
south.
Heading back to Philly.
It bypasses Morrisville.
Right.
And the next stop is
Oh,
Levittown.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And then the next one is, I believe, then there's like Cornwall's Heights, and there's,
Right.
I'm sorry,
Gotcha.
there's, before that, there's Tullytown, and there's, what's the other town down there? Croydon,
Okay.
and then finally you get the
What it
Cornwall's
would
Heights.
probably end up being here would be a stop like the Yardley line. This would be the end of residential.
It actually runs, it blows right past Morrisville.
I know that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, people have talked about trying to get somebody to come here and stop.
Oh,
Like the
yeah,
Yardley.
oh, yeah.
Not-
Well, we used
not
to,
continue, but-
we had a station there.
Was there, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's my, okay, that was my next.
Yeah, and the
question.
parking was overtaken, and then the part of that train property became the dog park
Okay.
across the
And
street
the
from.
fire station property and that parking, that
Yeah,
big vacant
right.
lot across the street.
Exactly.
Okay. Got you. That's a
So,
lot of
yeah,
red
but
tape.
we've talked about that, and
That's a lot of
it's just a
red tape.
matter of money,
Yeah, and a lot of red tape.
yeah. And then the other line is the West Trenton line.
Right, that one I'm familiar with.
That goes through Yardley.
Right.
Yep, okay.
'Cause I
Down
take that to go-
Huntington Valley and.
Right,
Right,
I
there's-
take that to get to my office a lot of times.
Where's that tying down, like Jenkintown or someplace?
Yeah, Jenkintown
Yeah.
and Code is where I get off, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's fine.
Yep.
Just kind of going along with the other recommended actions that we have for this focus area. Work towards preservation of the cemetery and support the redevelopment authority's efforts to redevelopment and reuse vacant and underutilized parcels such as the Cloverleaf property.
The cemetery has cleaned up, addressed all the property maintenance items that we had them.
Okay.
You know,
Did you?
Yeah, they've
That's
cleaned
awesome.
everything up, so that's good.
Yeah.
Looking good. Sidewalk issues were pretty good.
So if you have any recommendations that you want to add in, any challenges or opportunities and strengths you want to add, now would be the time for that discussion.
Yeah, I would just say everything I was talking about, the previous riverfront area, you could apply it to this area too,
Like
because there's plenty of land back there.
recreation.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not totally built out like the.
Right, exactly.
other areas.
But Paul was talking about canoes and
Mhm, yeah.
kayaks,
Oh,
which would
absolutely.
certainly be applicable to the riverfront area.
Yeah, it should be down in that area too, because you're below the falls.
Yep.
Yeah, but the
rapids.
one thing to keep in mind, though, you may or may not be aware of it, anything below, the bridge is incredibly tidal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is, absolutely.
And the tides will move 8 feet.
Yes.
Up top to bottom.
Well, you'll see it.
And you go to Preserve, you'll see that
Right,
real
you'll
clearly.
see it real clear. There's an
Yeah.
area, when you're on Bridge Street, approaching the Trenton Makes Bridge,
Mm-hmm.
on the right-hand side there, behind that stretch of buildings there, where they have the strip mall.
Yeah, the Concerto Fusion is.
Right,
Yep.
but behind there, there's this big area.
And
where
it goes up and
it goes
down,
up
up and down.
And it goes down.
Yep.
And if you're ever there when it's up, it's like, where did all this
That's
water
what's
come
big-
from?
And
that's
by the
like
way,
right back here, this
That's
finger.
where it is.
Yep.
And by the way, there's a underground stream there that it goes up through Williamson Park underneath the park.
Okay.
And it actually moves up and down a couple feet inside the park.
So
Yeah,
Is that how that works? Because I know that used to be a stream there.
yeah,
Because Williamson Park used to be an island.
right, that's
Yeah, right,
correct.
used to-
So
the
it's
river
it's-
was there.
it's piped then?
It's still,
piped.
and it's still tidal in those pipes.
Oh,
This
wow.
borough has more streams. This borough is sitting on a big.
Crap load of water.
there's a big one coming
There's-
right through town.
Yes.
Yeah, that way,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
underneath us.
Yep.
It's actually pretty amazing. You go through anything probably 1980s. Like a lot of developments, they just went right over those streams and just piped them. Like my wife and I walk our own community, which was built in 1970, and we just figured out, wait, this outlet here, there's a stream coming like right through. You know, people wonder why their basements are flooding, you know?
Yeah.
It's because all the water is coming down to that one area. But
Someone
yeah, so
actually-
anything pre-1980s,
Someone actually had an
Yeah.
idea one time, I
Yeah.
think it might have been Patrick Starr in the city, but to actually paint on the streets and stuff, locations where there were underground streams.
yeah, sure.
Because people wouldn't believe how many.
Oh, there's,
you know,
yeah, there's a,
Yeah.
yeah. And the,
It's
so the
kind of an
amazing.
interesting
yeah.
thing.
The amazing thing here is though, in the park itself, from behind Concerted Fusion, that is tidal, goes right up into the park.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
The hydrology is just, whoa,
Right.
whoa.
I mean, I would never want to put in there because it just would be,
Oh, you-
would be. The other thing is, if you've ever shopped at the big Walmart, Super Walmart down in Tullytown, where that Home Depot is and the
Yeah.
dollar, you know, like across the street from the Levittown
train chase.
train station.
Yeah.
They've paved over the canal there. So underneath that big parking lot is the Delaware Canal.
Right.
So that's another example of what you're talking about.
It's a future sinkhole.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
You
Well-
think?
But there's a stretch of land that they've planted daffodils, all in a group that actually lines out where the canal is underneath it, and then it's just pavement, and then, so at least someone was thinking, let's, your idea of like
No, they were saying
notating
because,
where?
I mean, if you take the riverfront,
Yeah.
any of these riverfronts, I mean, the piers, the wharves, the land, I
Oh.
mean, it's, you know, the rivers get filled in all the time.
So if you're gonna ride your bike, you know, the 60 miles or so, there's places where it stops and then it starts again.
Yeah,
And
so
if you get
here-
down to that area, there's a Dunkin' Donuts, and then it
Yeah.
kind of like stops
Yeah.
on, was that Route 13?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna be riding across the
Right.
parking lot, and eventually, it's kind of sketchy down there, but you finally get down to where the Amish
Yeah, down.
Market is.
market is.
Yeah.
And then it's like tent city, there's, you know, homeless people living back there. so.
The thing is, those bulkhead lines, you know, usually keep going out and
Yeah.
out and out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But, yeah, it's, if we can preserve any of what we have here, that'd be great.
I didn't know that about down there.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
yeah, check it out someday, yeah.
No, the desire.
Okay, we'll move
I'll ride
on-
north.
Google Maps.
Yeah, yeah.
Move on to the third focus area. On page 8, it's the downtown. So the challenges we have for this one, we have noted undesirable businesses and lack of places to attract outsiders to stay, lack of street infrastructure, lack of parking, and car-oriented developments that don't contribute to a Main Street walkable atmosphere. The opportunities and strengths are the C1 zoning district, historic areas and architecture, traditional mixed-use buildings, a base of local businesses that are already in place, access to parks and recreation, highly traveled transportation corridor, existing network of sidewalks, and then small blocks lined with buildings constructed up to the sidewalks, creating a small-scale environment. Some of the recommendations we have are from the Morrisville Borough Active Transportation Plan, develop pedestrian bike facilities found within that plan. Develop complete streets policies to make the downtown more walkable and easily accessible for bicyclists. Adopts the blueprint for the future and continue to follow that plan's recommendations in achieving revitalization success. Develop a parking study to identify parking locations, supply and demand, and potential sites for public parking. And enhance the existing environment with facade improvements, outdoor dining, landscaping, gateways, and enhancing crosswalks and sidewalks.
I think in this one, we need to get Patriots Park back in.
Right.
Yep.
Since it's in the commercial district.
Yeah.
Right. For opportunity
Yeah.
and strength. Yeah, I don't know why I put that in the other area.
Yeah, now that we've raised that building and improved that property somewhat, and made it a park, there's so many opportunities for that plot of land that we should examine, or,
For Patriots Park?
Well,
yeah.
there's a plan back there.
Where's that?
With the amphitheater and stuff?
Oh, I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
we
Yeah,
just
it's
make
right
that a
leaning against the wall
recommendation.
back there.
Oh, there you
Very-
go.
Very nice
Make that a
plan.
recommendation.
We should include that plan.
Patriots,
Yeah, that's what we've
develop
been looking
Patriots
at,
Park.
quite a while now. The one from Gilmore. Get it.
If it was it ever formally presented to the planning commission?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been presented to council.
Well, I mean, I wasn't here that night. When was that?
Remember, I probably wasn't here.
I wasn't either.
You're talking about where the MR Rider was, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember,
Unfortunately, I missed that.
yeah, Steve, I don't remember seeing this presentation.
It's on our website too,
Okay.
you know, under the paper.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here.
Okay.
For Bryn Aaron's and Mike's benefit, have you guys seen this before? This?
See, this particular plan, not up close.
I think it would be good for them to,
Well, again, it can be downloaded from the website,
okay.
that rendering.
Were there any issues surrounding the development of that?
One,
Not
two,
really.
three,
It's
four
probably-
people at this
It's probably
table
just
will be looking at it for the
funding
first time.
issues.
Yeah, I
perhaps?
mean, the sidewalks are done, and the ADA stuff,
Mhm.
you know, surrounding it. Summer seats there, the parking lot's gonna stay there, but getting that amphitheater thing and some of those other areas of seating and so forth, it's a very cool plan.
Have the neighbors
Statues.
have the neighbors seen this?
That's public, it's been.
No, I'm just asking, has
Yeah.
anyone knocked on the door? My point is, this is, I don't know what they're going to do with an amphitheater there, but,
Well, it slopes down, and you
Yeah.
can sit there and have an amphitheater.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been.
And what's the
public
purpose of
knowledge.
the amphitheater there? I'm just out of curiosity.
You can have music there, you can have
Plays.
presentation,
Community
plays.
presentations.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying, but it's so close to the,
We
I don't
hold our
say,
meetings there.
Well, I don't think,
To what?
yeah, there we
to the
go.
homes. I mean, it's like you have the neighborhoods there, and it's just wondering what the neighbors say.
There's really no place in Morrisville that it wouldn't be in someone's
Yeah, right, and even
backyard.
Williamson Park is close to home.
Yeah, I mean, you've got.
But that's been there for a while, though, that's the difference.
No, we've only gotten good reactions.
Okay, I'm
The
I'm not
plan's
negative to it, I'm just curious what the
Yeah.
reaction was from the neighbors, that's all.
I think as long as everything's held in the daytime, I don't think anybody's going to have any issue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
great big lights or
Yeah,
something.
okay. I mean, I think it's great that the school's been raised and it's now green. Because God knows, I'd rather see that than that the fenced around school.
Yeah.
My God, yuck. For how many years? Don't think about it.
It was a while.
Yeah. I've been here 7, so it's,
Oh, have you?
yeah.
Yeah, it's been that long. It was-
Yeah.
Any other additions to the downtown you want to include? Under whether it be challenges or opportunities or recommendations?
Do we want
We
to
need-
use the wording undesirable businesses?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I say, yeah, I mean, call like it is.
okay.
You know, I have no problem with
It all
that.
also comes down to personal
Yeah,
opinions of
definition,
what they
yeah.
are.
I mean, as long as you're not making some kind of value judgment, someone reads that.
What's always, isn't it always a value judgment?
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, look, at the results from our survey, see how they refer to those in there.
Yeah, I brought all the comments with me.
Yeah, I've done, yeah. I mean,
There are a few, aren't there?
Yeah.
so it's steeped in fact. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to the downtown area?
No,
Okay.
you already had it in there.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll discuss the last focus area, which is the northern residential area. So the challenges for this area are school district funding enrollment, or declining enrollment and school maintenance, and neighborhood preservation. And some opportunities and strengths we note are the majority of the housing is owner occupied. Mill Pond is in this area, and pedestrian bicycle access to the Trenton Transit Center. That should be its own bullet point. So this area encompasses the majority of the northwestern portion of the borough. It's bordered by Falls Township, and it's primarily single-family residential land uses. It contains the elementary school, the middle school and high school, Holy Trinity. It also has community services and facilities like the fire department and the public library, the A field, portions of Delaware Canal State Park. And then at the bottom, we can review the recommended actions that we have in place for this area. So we have considered developing bike facilities along East Trenton Avenue to the Calhoun Street Bridge and along Bridge Street to the Lower Trenton Bridge. Explore a merger of the Morrisville School District with Pennsbury, which came heavily from a lot of comments in the survey.
Can we come back to that after you're done going through this list? I've
Yeah.
had some, no,
Let's
no, I
be
have some-
mindful of our time.
No, I have, no,
Excuse me.
snorting is allowed.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right, no, it's good.
It was funny, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Develop community and greening and gardening programs, coordinate efforts to publicize the borough's historic nature, affordability, charm, and walkable scale for owner-occupied housing.
How would you do that? Through signage?
Yeah, you could do with signage,
Because one thing I'm missing throughout this whole thing is the ability to, or the opportunity for additional signage. in
Well, the Walkworks plan discusses signage and locations and stuff too on the various pedestrian routes.
Maybe there's an opportunity for us to explore cohesive signage in
Mhm.
each one of these areas that all tie together.
That would be kind of good.
Mhm.
that would be really good, actually.
So if you look at the Walkworks plan, that's kind of what they
And that's
do.
also on the
Yeah,
internet?
because it ties in historical stuff and just where people walk up to the levee and down and around, with things identifying what's there and the routes to go.
Well, maybe that's something we can springboard off of, if it's already, you're saying it's in place already, Steve?
Well, there's a plan that's been approved.
Okay, but it hasn't been
Well,
executed.
we've always looked at it in conjunction with this, you know, because they kind of work hand in hand.
Who would the Bucks County Planning Commission work with to get more information on that?
What? I don't know, the plan is
On
on
what?
the website, the
It's on the
Walkworks
website.
plan.
Yeah.
And the plan's called Walking?
Walkworks,
Yeah.
Mhm, it was a
Works
grant,
plan.
yeah. And it's got trails and the canals and would
Might be
have
interesting to merge
connections.
the two.
Yeah. I need to get on the
It had-
website more.
So do I.
Yeah, it had the,
Just to-
yeah, we
just to
we
see
went on
where
various
they-
walks, it
they
had
intersect.
survey input, it had all
Yeah.
the usual stuff. It's a good component.
Okay, good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I thought the Mill Pond was the one that was along the Delaware Canal.
The
Behind that.
Mill
Mill
No, Mill
Pond's
Pond's
actually
like
behind the
across
shopping
from-
The
center.
Mill
Right.
Pond is
Isn't it
right
across from
behind the
7-Eleven?
7-Eleven.
Yeah,
well,
it's behind the-
It's just behind 7-Eleven
Yeah.
that, yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
there.
It used to be
So-
behind the canal.
Is that in the downtown?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it
in the
is in the
downtown.
downtown.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll put those recommendations for
Right.
downtown.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing while we're looking at this on the map, remember, these are missing teeth of Falls Township up here.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
property, our borough line doesn't run all the way down Trenton.
Yeah, no,
Be
when
nice if
I
it
was
did, but it
trying to
didn't.
create it in GIS, I was
And behind the
It's all-
house.
struggling
Yeah.
to
Jerry
get that border.
It's like missing teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the final map will definitely not
Planning
have
fathers
falls in there.
scroll.
Right.
Must have been drinking at the time.
I'd like to say the new Wawa's in Morrisville, but it's really not,
No, it's not, no.
The issue is this all used to be Falls Township apparently.
apparently.
And when the borough was formed, Falls kept the rate
What they wanted to.
shopping
Yeah.
centers and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that was nice of them.
Okay.
And the schools,
Yeah.
just saying.
The last couple of recommendations prohibit homeowner associations from enacting restrictions on energy efficiency. And provide information to borough residents and businesses on energy conservation techniques, energy audits, and retrofits.
Real quick about the schools, and I'll be quick, I swear I will.
Yep.
The big, I know for a fact that Damon Miller, who's the president of the school board, has worked tirelessly to reach out to every adjacent district to the, to Morrisville, and got rejected over and over and over again.
This goes back years.
Well, and I'm talking
Before
about,
you was here.
I'm talking about recently. I'm talking about in the
Yeah, I
last
know.
couple, 3 years that he's done
I
that.
know.
I've been in Harrisburg twice lobbying for this. And it's like talking to this table. I've yelled at Steve Sanasorio's office on numerous occasions. I mean, really had it out with them. And it will take political will outside of Morrisville to get that done. And
Agreed.
And it's just, and I hear it in the surveys, our kids are getting screwed day after day after day, and all this is not going to improve until we get this resolved.
But that's a school board issue.
It's not, it is and it's not. It's also a state issue about fair funding to the schools, which we are not getting.
Right.
Bristol Borough, on a per capita, gets more than we do,
I know,
a lot more.
I know. I did what you did. I met with the Department of Ed up
Yeah.
in state, up
And
in
it's just-
Harrisburg and talked to them about it.
Yeah.
And it's just,
It's maddening.
It's way beyond the scope of this.
Yeah, it's maddening.
Way beyond the
Yeah,
scope of this.
and it's just, and the frustration, when I see this, my blood boils.
Yeah.
My blood boils. It incenses me that we are the stepchild to everybody else in this county.
Well, is there an opportunity for us to punch up that message in this plan?
Whatever we can do.
To keep it on the front burner.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
And
And some of that, some of it I see in, the school district issue definitely, but I also see it with the Little League in the Williamson Park. Most of those kids are from Lower Makefield Township.
Absolutely, yeah. Mhm. And
That come and use
they'll
those
play with our
facilities.
kids,
Right.
but they don't let the kids go to their school.
This is
Right.
2020, maybe it's time that we take the gloves off and we start really calling it what it is. and
It's an equity issue.
We,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right,
a-
so
all right, yeah.
we call out the equity
Well,
issue
you know
in this
what? And
comprehensive plan.
that goes to our plan principles,
There you go.
so.
Which is what you were talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's not just goals and objectives, it's plan principles.
Yeah, I
Because these are principles that
It's
you need to
huge.
talk
I mean,
about.
And can I add one
I like
more
that,
thing
Mike.
here, too? I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it or not, but if you're not, you'll know now. And I'll get the details to you. March 19th, there's Meet the Commissioners Night in New Hope.
March 19th, what day is that?
I don't know, it's the day after the 18th.
Okay?
It is like a Wednesday, I think. Wednesday, Thursday.
I am going to be there, and putting on a couple hats,
It's a Wednesday.
Thank you.
yeah.
Problem.
And
18th?
I'll get the times, I
Said
forget.
19th.
I forget the
19th.
19th.
I'm sorry, that would be Thursday.
It's a Thursday night.
Yeah, so I plan to go up there. I'll get the details if anybody wants to go up with me. Be my
Yeah,
guest.
just do a reply all on one of these emails.
Yeah, that's fine. And I plan to have a couple hats on, and one of them is the schools. And I'm going to hit them hard, because I don't care what they think of me. I really don't.
You said it's in New Hope,
I do believe.
but it's not specific to the New Hope.
Is it a?
No.
Is it
it's
a?
Meet the Commissioners.
Yeah, they travel around. to
Yeah.
different
Is it a
places,
actual
meetings.
official meeting? Like a
I haven't
All
commission
three,
meeting?
no, it's not. The
Not a
Commissioners,
commissioners
just a meet and greet,
Okay.
from what I understand.
Well, and I'm glad they're doing that.
Oh,
That's a
yeah,
great
so
idea.
I'm going up there and I'm going to hit them. So if anybody else wants to tag along, fine with me. And this is, I tell you, this, I don't have any kids in the district. It's not, I have no skin in the game that way. But you know what? All this isn't going to change until that changes.
So what, I'm going to ask Mike his opinion on this. What would be wrong with actually writing a comprehensive plan and naming names of lawmakers or elected officials that we've reached out to that can help us, blah, 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 or this is what's been done to date with
Well,
no,
the school district issue, I mean,
you
although
know, see where I'm going with this? It's just, you're putting it on record. Is that bad
I
form?
think, well, your comprehensive plan is your plan for the future.
I understand that.
So certainly you can include values.
But you can include what's been done so far.
Sure.
what the
I
roadblocks have
don't
been.
know if it's an important issue.
Remember we were talking about having a record with minutes?
Right.
This is our record for the
I know, and
future.
we'll put it in the minutes, that this was
But you
discussed.
can put it in the comprehensive plan, if this is what we've done so far,
Also on the video.
Yeah.
in the website. I mean.
Let's
everything's
think
on the
about,
website.
we're bringing it up. It's a borough-wide issue. It was in the last comprehensive plan.
But instead of just saying, this would be a nice idea, like at least put, these have been the frustrations we've had for the
What are our
last.
steps, though? Like, what's our, we have our past, what's been done. And I understand why nothing's been done. I think we all understand why nothing's been done on it.
But we make it part of the
What-
record in the
what is-
comprehensive plan.
What is it that we could do that, but what is it that we want to what steps do we take to start to address this issue? I mean, certainly, I think publicizing it is one.
Right.
We're bringing it up as, an equity issue. Because it really isn't fair.
Property tax issue.
Yeah, it's property taxes.
It's an
a lot of
everything
issue.
things.
It
So
is.
It's an everything issue.
It is.
How,
It's
can we think about this a little bit? And then maybe talk about it?
Yeah,
I think it's worth, I think it's worth it. I mean,
We're not going to figure it out tonight, but we
Right.
should think about it.
and the other thing, I'll throw this out too, do you think other stakeholders should be in on that meeting as well? And really make a concerted effort, for a community concerted effort to get this
You're
done.
talking about the planning commission meeting?
Planning commission, school, I mean, whomever,
Oh, right.
whoever the stakeholders are.
All the meetings are open to the
Yeah,
public.
yeah, and I just think and if we
Yeah,
can
the
come up with
public there.
a game plan, I think it
Right.
really would be really good.
Well, I mean, it's a top issue, so why not, like, a recommendation is planned?
Right.
Say, hey, look, this is a top issue right here. Let's, do as you suggest. Let's start bringing together some of these stakeholders. Let's start doing some action, putting together an action plan for this
And you-
particular issue.
And you do
Yeah.
that, and if in a year or two or three it's successful, a lot of this stuff gets done.
Right, so
A
in
lot
10
of
years,
this
when
stuff-
we're working with you guys again, that's an accomplishment that we can say.
Oh, gosh, yes.
This was in the comprehensive
Oh,
plan, and this is
yeah.
what we've been able to do.
And it puts a rudder in the water for the community, and maybe gets less rental units and more homeowners. Get more people going, I'm going to be here for a few years, my kids will be 4 or 5 years old, and I'm going to go to Lower
Well, it
Makefield.
raises all the property values.
Sure.
And would lower the taxes.
Well, I talk to young people in my neighborhood, they have a couple young kids, and they go, yeah, it's a great starter home, but,
Right.
they know
Right.
Yeah.
in a few years, they're out.
Yep.
Yep,
And I get it. I mean, I fully understand that, and I don't blame them. You can, if you have the wherewithal to do it.
agreed.
Yeah, anyway, that's my rant. I'm
No,
sorry.
this is fantastic.
Yeah, good discussion.
Yeah.
So you've been to Harrisburg too? Yeah.
That's the single biggest issue facing Morrisville.
I really,
Yeah.
I really think that that
Agreed.
is,
The elephant in the room.
Thank you for your
Yeah,
service.
let's head on.
I was given a duly noted and patted on my way back to Morrisville.
I
And I
was,
met with all of them.
I
all
will,
of them.
On behalf of the school board?
On behalf.
Oh, my God.
I almost F-bombed one of the heads of the Senate there. He was lecturing us, and I sat there and say, I was thinking, I was going to say,
So he's looking at you as, who is this guy from the
well, he
small little
right.
town?
didn't give a shit. Excuse me.
They gave us a lot of your small town. They sat down with us, but they didn't really kind of give us the time of day.
It's almost
It was
disgusting.
kind of bad.
Slap in the face.
Yeah.
Total slap.
And I was only one of many in a long line of school board people who had done that through the years. So,
I went there with the PCCY group in Philadelphia, actually, one time, and a whole group of us went up, and they just basically, we don't care.
It's the,
it's
everyone's listening to that radio station, WIIFM, if you know what I'm talking about?
No clue.
That, what's in it for me?
Oh,
Like, they all like are listening to that station. Like, what's in it for me? Like, there's nothing in it for them.
Right,
It's just
Yeah.
what you want.
Yeah.
But what are they going to get it from?
right, right.
So that's why nothing happens.
by the way, this meeting next week is more for environmental purposes, but I don't care.
Okay.
But I'll get the information out to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So that wraps up our future land use focus areas and the future land use map.
Are we going to call it focus areas, or are we going to call it planning areas?
I personally traditionally call it planning areas. I'm a conservative. on
You
that.
could, I don't, you can call it, but you can call it planning areas, but like the way if you can focus on certain areas with your call-outs.
With your call-outs would be focus areas or focus points.
Focus points.
Summer
Right.
seats,
So,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah,
Focused
blah, blah.
planning area.
Right, so the idea is.
Focus on the planning area.
You're creating a land use plan, a generalized land use plan for each of those areas. To keep things consistent, I would prefer that we stick with planning areas.
Fine.
So I'm sorry
That's
to
fine.
give my opinion like that, but
Hey.
I think it's just easier for us to work with the
That's
language.
why we're working with
It's
you.
Yeah,
more-
okay.
accepted
Right.
language. It's
Planning
language
areas-
that's already been used a lot.
Because if we start to get in focus, then we're being, like, I think, like a little bit too individual on
Right,
certain
then
parts.
you're almost
Yeah.
heading
Yeah.
into like a specific plan or something like that.
But we have focus points within those areas.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely we do.
Okay, I'm confused. That's all
Okay.
right.
Well, the next section, the last section of this chapter, just summarizes the recommendations of this comp plan from each chapter. So all these recommended actions we've seen before. I don't know if you want to go through them all, you just want to brief over them, but every chapter that we've gone through has had these recommended actions.
Yeah, we could also just get into the community survey and then maybe talk about this at another meeting when we sort of wrap up the plan.
That'd be good.
It's up to you.
That's
So this is ultimately what it will look like, to have all of the recommended actions at the end, to kind of,
Oh, okay.
And we'll accomplish
Summarize.
every one of them.
yeah, and then we'll be able to check them all off through the years.
I just have a quick question. You mentioned earlier something about gravestones being on the National Register of Historic Places.
Yeah.
What's involved with all that? How do we,
I was gonna
do
ask
you
the
guys help
same.
us with that, or who does
You'd
that?
have to get your historic commission,
Surprised that hasn't
they had a
been done
summer
already.
seat.
Oh, Historic Society?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you
you
have to get
go
the state
through.
involved, too.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania,
It's not, hasn't been done, though? I mean, is Summer Seat on the?
Summer Seat is.
Well, yeah, it's on the register.
Yeah.
But it's
But not-
privately
I think
owned.
Summer
Not
Seat's on the
Greystones?
register.
It's privately owned. No, I don't think Greystones is.
No, it's
Why?
not.
I was gonna say, I thought something had happened so that it,
Greystones, it's
not.
classified as something else. Let me look
Well, it
at
has
the
the
map here.
plaque. and
It's classified
stuff.
as a national
plaque
resource.
talks about the meets and bounds of
Yeah,
that's what.
Yeah.
where places in
Yeah.
Morrisville, or in the United States, or
I mean, maybe
Pennsylvania are
there's a
measured
different
from.
category for.
Is that what it is?
houses and
Yeah.
features
That's
like
cool.
that.
That's
That's
where.
kinda neat, yeah.
That's where William Penn did
Yeah,
the
where he
original
started.
treaty with the Indians.
Okay.
That's where he
The
started.
Native Americans.
Native American, for those
Kidding.
watching. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
Indigenous people.
that's as a natural resource, but if you wanted to get it on the national register, you'd have to go through the Pennsylvania Historical Museum
Right,
Commission.
Historical Museum.
And that's all detailed in the Historic and Cultural Resources chapter.
All right, thank
I
you.
I think they do have something for, like, cultural landscapes they're called or something. Maybe it would be that type of category.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if it's in the plan, we need to somehow have a,
provide an avenue to how it's
yeah.
done.
A plan for
Yeah.
Instead of
it.
just talking about it, because then it's like the rolling,
So if you want to do it,
Thing.
this is where you start.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
or every 10
Basically-
years.
Yes.
Or in our case, every 12, 20 years. I mean, when we did this in 2008, it was, previous time was 20 years ago, before that, so. That's right. We're still talking
I want to
about it.
bring this up too, with all this stuff here that we've talked about, and you said 12 years ago you had the prior plan. How did the recession of 2008 affect that plan? No, in all honesty, I mean, or didn't it have an effect?
I think it had just come out when it was happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, because I'm looking at that timeline, I'm looking at what's going on economically right now.
Well, we were working on it for at least 2 years.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, the timing here is
I think a
perfect.
lot of the long-range, large developer plans and stuff,
That-
that material.
That would
That's-
have, that would have
Yeah,
affected.
and housing
heavily.
and
Yeah.
all that, I mean, they got whacked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because we were
what-
talking
yeah.
about having a restaurant where the Calhoun Street Bridge is, the deck up there, the old water filtration plant. We were talking to a developer from Princeton to put a restaurant there, and we had all these plans, and
Yeah.
everything kind of
Yeah.
fell through.
Fell, yeah.
So that's probably an
Yeah,
answer to
the
your
money
question.
was, there was no way to get money.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just fearful that same thing is going to happen in the near future, that's all.
It might.
Yeah, it's heading that way.
It's just,
Yeah.
I think we can only go
No, no.
forward with best
I'm just
intentions. and-
Absolutely, you know, I'm just
Try to
curious
get
what
as many grants
how
as
that
possible.
timeline
No one has a crystal
coincided.
ball.
No,
You might have something there.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm not saying you don't do it, you do it, but,
Sometimes it gives you an opportunity.
yeah,
You
you
slow down a
never,
little bit, gives you an opportunity to build up some resources,
Yeah.
and then you're ready for when the
Yeah,
economy
that's what
turns
happened
around.
last
Yeah.
time was the single family, the big singles and stuff, production went way down. And that's when the market rate apartments started coming
Right.
in because they could be financed.
right, and people needed a place to live.
Yeah, but you could go to the bank and finance them. You couldn't
Yeah.
finance a $1 million single-family
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
As a developer doing a whole subdivision of those.
So did you want to talk about this real quickly? Is that what you wanted to do, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. I think that what we're going to do is we'll talk about that, maybe get some more ideas for our plan principles as we go through that survey. And then we can sort of talk about what we want to do next.
Okay. The survey. So every response basically has some type of chart or graphic connected to it. I also skipped out on the questions that had open-ended responses because it was like 40 pages of comments that I have here. So if you're interested in reading further into the comments, I have them separated by question.
You already sent them out to us, didn't you?
Yeah, you have them. I
Yeah.
just didn't want to print them
No,
out
no,
and
I
like
didn't
kill a
print
bunch of
them
trees.
either.
Yeah. Okay, so
What was the response rate? Probably like 4 or 5%?
let's see.
353
353
households
households
said.
responded, and when asked how many people were in your household, a total of 934
Oh,
people
so
were
that's like almost
represented.
10%.
Yeah, 10, 12%
Yeah.
almost. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
It's not bad.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So, let's see, the majority of the respondents said that they lived in Ward 3, but there was kind of an equal level from Ward 1 and Ward 2, and then the least respondents came from Ward 4. The majority of the respondents, over half, were female. And between the ages of 46 to 59. And the highest level of education, the majority was bachelor's degree. So kind of getting into the questions that will help us develop a vision. The average number of residents per household was 3, and 90% of respondents said that they own their homes. And
That's
then-
not surprising. I mean, you wouldn't really get a renter to do this, would you?
No skin in the game.
No,
so.
exactly.
Yeah. Typical.
But
I mean,
actually,
exactly, yeah.
That's it'd be.
Unless you're a long-term renter and you've,
But I'm pleased
You're
to see
invested in
some
this
renters
place.
actually took.
well, yeah, I would think there are people that have been here a while and they're invested in this
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, 33 out of 353.
Yeah.
It's not
Not
a
bad.
lot, but hey.
No, it's something. Somebody who's.
10% of the total.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, and then the majority of the residents that respondents lived in are single-family homes. So where do residents work? The majority was elsewhere in Bucks County with 21%, and elsewhere in New Jersey with 25%. And Morrisville Borough, only 9% of respondents, so that they work in the borough. For question number 9, which transportation do residents in your household use to get to work? Car was the majority. I had some respondents in the comments say plane. I don't know what they do for work, but it's like plane and motorcycle.
I think those people just messing with you.
They might have
I don't know.
Plane and
They might have
motorcycle.
been.
I think they were like saying that if they have to go to like airports for work, I guess. If
May have
they're saying
travel,
fly
that might-
out,
yeah.
Yeah, they travel.
Yeah.
If required, plane travel.
Blimp.
But- Yep, okay, question 10. Why did you choose to live in Morrisville? Okay, getting into the grid of the survey. So the majority said the location and the cost of living / affordable housing. That was each around like 40%.
Small town living, it's up there too.
So,
Right.
so Bernard, I just have to ask you, these tables were generated through Survey 123? Or
Survey Monkey, yeah, yeah.
Survey Monkey?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I like them a lot.
Yeah, I think
These
Yeah,
are life
it's pretty-
easier.
It's amazing, yeah.
it makes,
Compared
like,
to the old-fashioned way.
I had to make a chart for number 8, this pie chart, because
Yeah.
just the way that the survey had the results come up, it was hard to tell which numbers
Nonsensical.
went where, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of these were generated from Survey Monkey, so
Okay.
it was just easy to copy and paste. Question 11, For how long have you lived in the borough? About 40% of respondents said they've lived here for over 20 years.
Wow.
And then the
That's pretty
next level of
impressive.
respondents came from 1 to 5 years.
I know. I
Yeah.
did fill this out.
Could we find
Yeah.
out, does SurveyMonkey allow you to, like, say, we want to find out why people who lived here 1 to less than 5 years
Mhm.
choose to live in Morrisville?
Yeah, I'd have to contact Juliet and see if
Okay.
she has, because she just sent me the PDF with all the charts. But I'm sure she has access. Well, I don't know if she does or not.
Oh, you have verbatims on that? Or why? Like people actually told you in comments?
What was that?
No, we're trying to say like, if there's a way that you can go back into SurveyMonkey and see the people who responded that they lived here for 20+ years, see what they responded to question 10 as.
Like, if people just moved here within the last 5 years, why did they choose to?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
things like that. Like,
Like a
can we pull out
crosstab, yep.
Right.
data points on that?
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you can pull out specific surveys, but I'll
Yeah.
ask her tomorrow.
that'd be great.
So do you plan on retiring in Morrisville? The answers were pretty split down the middle of yes, no, and maybe.
Sure it is.
But good news is people rated the quality of life good for the most part.
Mhm.
Mhm.
50%. Only 7% rated it poor.
Do we have information on that from previous? That looks pretty darn good. I don't
It
remember,
is.
I don't remember it being that good.
In the last comp plan, I do think that we had this question. Let's see.
I don't remember it being great.
We had a why did you choose? Okay. How would you describe your quality of life in the borough? So 248 people responded and 52% said it was good.
Okay.
Was it the majority?
Actually, it's gone down now.
Yeah, it
Gone
was the
down a little
majority.
bit,
It is
yeah.
going down.
Okay.
2%
interesting.
said it was excellent. This
Oh.
one only has less than 1.
Wow, that's
It's going
interesting.
down
Yeah, just a
all
little,
across.
just a little bit.
Do we have 5 categories here?
Yeah, we do. It's,
To see.
yeah, 2008 poor was 3%, fair was 18%, good was 52%, very good was 25%, and excellent was 2%. So it
Okay, so it's
it
kind of
has-
going down a little bit.
It has gone
I
down.
remember we've had the economic thing. you
That's
know.
true, yeah.
When you were doing the last plan, we were still going, then it collapsed.
That's true, yeah, that's
so it's gonna
true.
Come back.
Yep.
But this is after it's come back, though. So,
Well, it's still coming back.
well,
A lot of things.
most of the recovery took place. My point is, these numbers aren't as good as the ones in '08.
No, because
Right.
back then, before the collapse, things were going pretty good. probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we had a question, what transportation do residents in your household use to get around outside of work? Still, the majority is car, but the second most is walking, and then biking.
Both. It's easy to walk around here, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, God, you don't need a car on the weekend.
You know, a lot of people walk to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
I walk to my barber, I walk to the grocery store, and I walk to the hardware store. I don't need anything else.
There you go.
That's nice.
Thank you, Cunningham's.
Yeah, sure. I ride my bike there.
Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
So the majority of respondents said that they frequent parks once every few months. Not a heavy response there, 25%. Only 5% said they frequent them daily. It's kind of a mix here of frequenting them often and not often.
And never 18%.
Right.
Wow.
For the amount of parks that the borough has, that is a little shocking.
You know what? Doesn't surprise me. People just don't get out and do stuff.
They go to the parks in Lower Make and stuff. all those
Or,
fields.
no, they don't go to parks at all,
Yeah,
is my
okay,
point,
they-
yeah. Yeah.
And then for the parks that they do frequent, the majority frequented Delaware Canal State Park and Williamson Park and the dog park.
Well, if anything, the dog park answer justifies the use, like the fact that we needed the dog park.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pretty big number.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Pretty small part.
That was one of the best things that happened.
Yeah.
Every time you go by there, there's always
Yeah, because there were
somebody-
people fighting it, and you look at the numbers here,
Yeah.
it looks pretty darn good.
Yeah.
What could be implemented to enhance public safety initiatives? The biggest outcome was police patrols, then was surveillance cameras and traffic enforcement. Neighborhood watches, street lighting were the next big ones. But yeah, 63% said police patrols,
Hmm.
50% said surveillance cameras. And when asked if they want to see their tax money redirected to enhance those public safety initiatives, 85% said yes.
Wow.
And then question 19 details how satisfied residents who responded to the survey are with community services that Morrisville provides. So the font's a little small, sorry about that. But it goes on to the next page. But overall, people responded pretty neutral with all of them. Satisfied for fire protection, stormwater, police protection, yard maintenance, but yeah, pretty much for all of them, neutral was the majority.
Yeah. Sometimes these things are hard to evaluate.
They're very,
Yeah, they
very
are. Yeah.
satisfied with their fire protection.
Yes, they are. And then, what issues would you like to be better addressed in the borough? The biggest majority was crime and public safety. And then taxes, and then the school district. Other notable ones were economic development, road maintenance, and activities for youth and families, and infrastructure maintenance. And then the majority of respondents say they receive their news on Facebook.
That cracked me up when I saw that.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that is just horrible. I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, that's why so many people responded, because the survey was on Facebook.
72%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there's a lot of haters out there on
I know.
Facebook.
Well, it's.
Word of mouth was surprising.
Well, I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
tool. I mean, it's not to
Right.
not be used, but yeah, great.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, you look at any, I guess, somewhat controversial issue that may be going on locally, a lot of times people find out through Facebook.
Yeah, or the patch.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Brent, I don't know, as you work these, do you
That's
do
terrible.
a comparison of
It's
the 08
astounding,
to now?
astonishing.
To survey responses?
That
I mean,
too.
I don't want to create more work, but it would be
Yeah.
interesting to
Yeah, I
see
could look at them.
where it compares. I mean, you
Yeah.
you
We
you
have
look
the
at that,
results, yeah.
I know I know we changed it, it's not one for one.
Right.
It would be interesting to see where other areas, like we pointed out in that one, where it changed.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
So-
Or is that
So one of the things I think we can do.
nightmare of administration?
I think that maybe we don't want to necessarily try to do a one-to-one comparison. I don't know
Right,
how much
no,
we can get
not
out of
at
it.
all.
However, I think there are some issues that we can hone in on, maybe like overall quality of life, and we could summarize that.
You know what, I
And
think
it'll-
that's
yeah,
exactly where I was,
Yeah,
comparing quality of life then to now. You know, we
Right.
saw a little bit go down in one area, I'm just curious how, where
Yeah.
it how it's
Right.
balanced.
If there's
in
something
those-
that we can compare, we'll take a look at the survey.
you.
But
Okay.
what we're going to do is these survey results will be included as an appendix, but they'll also be summarized in certain key areas in the plan. So that might be another opportunity to summarize that
Okay.
information.
I tell you what was amazing in this, looking at the individual answers in this survey.
The question-
Some of them, the responses were, really? Did you see some of that? I was like,
Yeah,
oh my.
every resident's got a point, and everybody's got a passion.
No, I'm talking about, I mean, some really ugly,
Oh, I'm not-
nasty.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, we gave them a platform, and
Yeah.
well, we
Now they're on
said,
and now they're
"Tell
on
us," and
Facebook.
they told us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you get what you ask for.
Yeah,
so
no,
we
I know, no, I'm just, but I was really,
You know?
you don't have to call out names. I mean, you don't need to do that.
It's anonymous.
I understand,
And that's
but,
why it was done that
And-
way.
and, yeah,
All the more reason to get answers like that.
Exactly.
Because if you put their name on it, they're not going to say it.
Exactly. So we want to hear what you have to say,
Right.
so
yeah.
type away.
I enjoyed reading through them.
I want to reread it. I didn't get through all of them.
Yeah.
Need to update my email address.
Okay, yeah, what is it?
It's last name, first name, initial, so it's amend, Stephen with a V, and then G, all one word, at gmail.com.
Wait, okay, spell it out letter by letter.
A-M-E-N-D,
Uh-huh.
Stephen with a V,
Stephen with the
and
V.
then G,
G.
Gregory. Amend Stephen G at gmail.com.
Last
it-
name, first name, middle initial.
Because the Yahoo is being retired
Oh,
for me.
it's time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You
who?
had a Yahoo account? You are old.
Now,
Is Gary or
I got it
Gary
in,
and Kurt still on the planning commission?
Who?
Gary
95.
and
No, the one person left,
Kurt? Kurt?
and Paul replaced him. But we're trying, the borough is working on a list of all these organizations now. It's still in the works because it's so complicated. Trying to get names, cell phone numbers, and email addresses.
Okay, I'm just trying
And
to.
Sue's working on it, you know, she gets interrupted all the time, but it's in the works. And that will go by, you know, planning commission, zoning hearing board.
Is there anything we can do to help Sue with that, to make it a little more organized, or give her things that she needs?
No, unless
Okay.
she's missing some
Oh, okay.
data, she would let you know, I would assume.
Okay.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out,
Yeah, because I keep asking her, I say, is it ready
Who to
yet? Is it ready
continue
yet?"
on the
It'll be a
email
lot
list.
easier when we have that.
okay. So do you want to discuss kind of the vision,
Yeah, I think,
or you want to save that for next meeting?
I think we should, I want to rework it, okay?
What's
Because
that?
the vision and goals, which were in the last plan, and I think that, I look at it, and it was fine for the time, because the plan was very
Yeah.
revitalization focused. However, I think that there are other things going on, and this was one of the reasons why I think we asked some of these survey questions here. One of the things that I get a sense from Morrisville is that there is, you know, as Paul alluded to, some frustrations, you know, and let's get to some of the real issues that are bothering people on a day-to-day basis, and really trying to focus on how to improve their lives, rather than just coming up with, oh, this nice land use plan, showing, look,
Right.
these pretty buildings here, isn't that nice? You know, and, you know, certainly we do want to focus on economic development, but there's a lot of quality of life issues
Well, I
that I
like
think
the
that are
direction this plan is
really,
taking now.
really
I just-
important. So let's have that vision reflect that desire for a better quality of life here, because ultimately, that's what's going to attract new residents, that's what's going to attract economic development, is a good quality of
Because
life.
we know we've got the
Yeah.
location, we know we've got
Yeah.
some other things, now we're going to get the
Exactly,
rest of
so
it.
let's
rest of the stuff.
focus on that. So I think I want to rework that. I'm going to look more at I'm going to look at the survey responses, which I have not had an opportunity to look at yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to look into some other type of examples, and then we'll come up with a draft for everybody to take a look, to review. We're going to rework the beginning of the revitalization and planning for the future chapter. I think the structure is there, we just have to add in some details. Maybe rework the land use map. You know, there might be some ideas that we might put in there to help enhance that land use map, rather than just having the 4 different areas. And then ultimately, once we come up with that as some draft, you know, as a reworked draft, then I think we can talk about implementation. We can sort of take all those recommendations that we talked about and put them into one document. And then, you know, out of that, come up with, similar to what we did last time, what are the big things we want to accomplish for this for the next 10 years? I mean, these are, the recommendations will all be there, the structure will be there. You know, the rest of the recommendations will be there, but what are the big issues? What do we really want to accomplish over the next couple of years? So I do like how everything's kind of coming together, and we really do
Yeah, I think it's
appreciate
great.
everybody's feedback here tonight.
In your
'cause I
work
think
too,
it-
you guys,
Yeah.
putting all the stuff together
Yeah.
for us so we could see it, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't want to just come, we want to come here with some prepared material for you to sort of make you think a little bit, but, certainly give you that opportunity to give us some feedback so that we can rework it to a better document.
So will that be ready for the next regular meeting?
Which is the 13th.
13th?
Yeah.
I'm going to be out of the state on that day, so would we be able to do it on the work session
No, you'll be home,
day?
the coronavirus.
Yeah,
will
that's
shut
the
you down.
27th.
You'll be
I
staying.
have
Yeah.
a trip planned. Hopefully the coronavirus doesn't
Where are you
disrupt
going?
it. To Yosemite.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
So not Italy, you're fine, you're good.
Right, yeah, but I am flying into Oakland where Princess Cruise Ship's about to dock,
They're
so.
done. Don't worry about it.
Conduct your meetings from.
Yeah,
so you
right.
don't-
Okay, perfect. We'll be on the mountainside.
You're gonna be hiking there or doing?
Yeah,
Cool.
hiking.
Well, you know,
That's
do me a
really great.
favor, when you, tomorrow or whenever, send an email about the schedule, possible schedule change. so we
Okay,
can run it
yeah,
past
so
Scott
if we
and
could do that
everybody.
on the work session, that'd be great.
Yeah.
The
So
fourth
we're
Monday.
tentatively talking about April 27th?
Mhm,
Yeah.
That would be the end of
Okay.
April.
And then
So
that
27,
meeting,
not
we
the
would
13th.
have.
Yeah, 13th is the Monday after Easter.
Easter,
Right.
it's Easter
Yeah.
Monday, right.
So for the April meeting, we would kind of have strike-through copies of all the chapters that we talked about so far and all the changes I've made from our discussions, that we can review that and also review what Mike just talked about.
Okay,
Is that when the
27th.
falls turns red, that time of year? The falls in Yosemite turn red from the sun, from the.
Oh.
I don't know, but that'd be great.
That sounds like a trip of a lifetime.
That
Yeah, I'm
sounds great.
excited.
Yeah.
Maybe not a lot of people will be there because of the cold.
Yeah.
Well, they say it's not supposed to turn red, there's not enough snowpack for the falls to actually really be that good. Yeah.
Global warming.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, if they had any type of winter like we did,
The
then,
snowpack in the Sierras sucked this year.
yeah.
Maybe look
Really
at
was
the spring
bad.
Hey, I'll
snow.
make a note, 27th will be 7 o'clock, according to
Oh,
our.
you know what?
7
And I
p.m.
just copied it into my calendar with the wrong time.
I know, I was.
I guess it's 7 o'clock now.
Thank you for
Yeah.
saying that.
For now.
Now, if it changes,
We'll
we'll
work
let you
it.
know. if
We'll work on
somehow-
it.
Okay.
I'm adaptable.
We'll work.
I'm whatever. I'm here. I'll be here.
So, good news is we finished kind of writing all the new material, basically, all the chapters. Yay. We just need to review changes.
It's good so far, Brenna, Aaron.
What?
It's nice.
Do I have carpal tunnel? No,
Yeah,
not yet.
from all
no.
the writing.
No, I'm still young, so maybe in a couple of years.
A couple plans later.
Yeah, a couple compounds later.
Using her,
Still got some time with you. We'll break you in.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right.
Thank you.